Steve, as the mayor of Huntington, I'd love to get your perspective on, again, you're an optimistic guy. I've never met you in person. This is actually the first time I've ever met you, but I love the message that you come to this call with today. It is an optimistic viewpoint. It is an abundance mindset. Talk a little bit about some of the other things that you're doing in Huntington to really, address this idea of we can compete, we can swim in the deep waters, as you said.
Well, we have Marshall University in Huntington, and what I see my responsibility is for all of those graduates is to set the table and give them the opportunity to be able to make a decision to stay in Huntington. None of us have traveled by airplane anywhere lately, but when I would get on United, they'd say, we know you have a choice when you're choosing an airline, and we thank you for choosing United. Well, every one of our students have choices to be able to make, and it's our responsibility in the community to be able to show that there is an opportunity for you. So what we're doing in Huntington is truly trying to set the table. Right next to Marshall, there was historically a series of factories that have been building everything from train cars to making blue dye and making suits, and there's another and clothing and such. All of those factories have shut down. Mm. And after a while, they were closed for such a long time that you drive by and you really just became blind to it. Well, what we've done is we've acquired the property, and it's nearly 100 acres right in the middle of Huntington, right next to Marshall University, right on the river, right down the street from the hospital, and we're redeveloping that property. And frankly, this is the opportunity for us. You were mentioning earlier, Jim, that now is the opportunity. We don't have 5 to 10 years. We have to do it right now. I mean, there has got to be a sense of urgency that we're having. And frankly, we've spent the last 8 years planning some things. Unfortunately, it's something that has not been birthed by the Chamber of Commerce nor by the mayor's office. It's a plan that's been put together by the entire community coming together. And what we see that's going to be happening in this property right next to Marshall University, what would you do if you had property to develop for 21st century technology and it was right next to a university? You take full advantage of that brain trust that's right there. And that's the opportunity that we have. Mark my word, it's not going to take 10 or 15 years. Within 5 to 7 years, individuals are going to be looking down in the Ohio River Valley, and the new city is Huntington, West Virginia. We think of Asheville, we think of Chattanooga, we think of Greenville, South Carolina. Huntington, West Virginia, understand this, in the Ohio River Valley, we're the 4th largest market in the Ohio River Valley. You have Pittsburgh, you have Cincinnati, you have Louisville, and the Huntington market is the 4th largest. And imagine if you were sitting up in outer space, looking down into the Ohio River Valley, you're seeing in Pittsburgh those bright lights, seeing those bright lights over in Cincinnati and the bright lights over in Louisville. But then there's this one beam, this tiny beam of light, just bright as can be, coming up in this one little area. It's Huntington, West Virginia. Where are people going to be drawn to? They're going to be drawn to that, so we can get there from here. And what Lee is doing, what we're doing in New Force is we're reminding ourselves what we are capable of doing. The responsibility of city government is to provide services, but more than anything else, beyond that, is to set the table and set the expectations and create the opportunity for others like Lee to be able, through their entrepreneurial spirit, to be able to come forward and say, this is where we're going to sit down, and then give the opportunity for individuals throughout West Virginia to be able to compete.
That's awesome, Steve. I appreciate that. I'm so glad we're recording this. So we captured that on video. That little you said that you were evangelizing, and I'm just going to start calling you Pastor Steve instead of Mayor Steve. And I just got to give you an amen. And I would also argue that Morgantown's right there with you, and I love Morgantown. I've been here since I think 1980, and if I ever do leave Morgantown, I'm gonna come and live in Huntington. For more positive stories of people and businesses doing amazing things all across the Mountain State, be sure to subscribe to our channel. And also, we live stream every week on Facebook Live. Stay positive, West Virginia.